Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo. Today's guest is our 2019 Mr. USA overall champ, Zach Merkel. Welcome to the show.
Hey Dave, thanks for having me.
Big win at the USA Championships this past weekend. You won the Supers. You beat a good Nick Walker, and then you won the overall, and you're an IFBB pro. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate it. It still hasn't set in yet.
It's nice to see, you're not really a dark horse in that sense that you placed last year in top 3 at the North American, but a lot of people didn't really know who you are. They didn't really see you on the radar, and then you kind of came in and shocked a lot of people winning that show. How did you feel going into the show? Did you think you had a shot at winning it?
Yeah, you know what? I did. I kind of kept my prep quiet on purpose as far as social media and stuff. The people that followed me knew I was doing it because, I'd put up little hints that, I was dieting and doing cardio and cutting carbs and all that. But I didn't really do the progress picture thing this time. I wanted to take the pressure off myself so I could just focus on looking my best. And it had to have been the smoothest prep I've had. My body was just responding well. Everything clicked, and it was a really stress-free environment I created for myself. And luckily, it panned out, and I emerged the champion.
Now, in that super heavyweight class, when you had to go against Nick Walker, it was a close battle. I think you won by 1 point.
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, I think, your structure won it for you. What was, did you get any feedback from the judges after that?
Yeah. I got after prejudging was I knew that it was close, and I knew I had a battle on my hands.
Yeah.
So I did everything good to come back tighter to the night show. So I think I was a little drier at the night show. I got a darker tan. I got a couple extra coats of tan put on because Nick's tan stood out a little more than mine. But I knew it was an apples to oranges type deal, and it could have gone either way. So I just focused on coming back better, and luckily, I won the Supers there.
How much muscle did you put on from last year when you competed at the North American?
You know what? It's hard to say because last year at the North Americans, I weighed in at 263, and this year my weigh-in was 259. But I was significantly tighter and
Absolutely
harder.
Were, yeah.
Yeah, I had to have put on good tissue though. It doesn't mean I didn't just because my weight was lower. But I started the diet at like 272, 12 weeks out or so. So I really only lost 12 to 14 pounds total.
Yeah. Do you stay lean in the off season, or do you think you grew into the prep?
Well, both. I started the prep maybe 12% body fat or so. So I definitely grew into the prep. Like I said, it was one of those things. Like I think all the refeeds I did were timely, and we were just able to manipulate everything to work to my favor. So it was a good look. I was well rested, and I felt full on stage, and everything just clicked pretty well.
Who helped you with your prep?
My coach is Morgan Rice. He's not a well-known coach by any means. Me and him actually kind of came up together. Like after my first show in 2013, I met him backstage. He kind of pulled me aside, and ever since then, we've worked together. We've been best friends, and we've been, knocking on the national door for a couple of years now. And we finally got the pro card, and we're lucky enough to win the overall, obviously.
Now, when going into that overall, I always ask guys when they win the overall, it's such a weird, comparison because you're being compared against guys that are smaller than you, essentially. And, you want to believe that being the biggest guy, you're going to win the show, but that's not always the case. What were your feelings going into this overall pose down?
Going into the overall, I didn't really have a plan. I was just happy to be in it. But hit my shots as hard as I could. Accentuate my strong points. I tried to show off, my small waist as much as I could, and played to my, proportional strengths. But that was about it. Just get up there and pose hard and see what happens.
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Oh, so you're a young guy. How tall are you?
Right about 5'11", I think, is the consensus. 5'11", 6 foot, somewhere around.
You shrink as you get older. Trust me. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Squatting makes you shorter. But you know what the truth is? You're actually the perfect proportions of a bodybuilder. The best Mr. Olympias were always like in the 5'10", 5'11" range, and so you have a good structure for bodybuilding. Now, with all the advent of classic physique out there, and you hear all the talk and all the hype on that, a lot of people saying bodybuilding is dead, but it turned out that, the USA was a really, really competitive show, and there was a lot of new talent, guys that we don't really hear about on a regular basis. Do you think there's a new resurgence in open bodybuilding?
Yeah, I think you've touched on this on the show before. I think open bodybuilding will always be the main attraction to our sport. Classic may gain or lose popularity, but at the core, bodybuilding's always going to be there. There's always going to be the hardcore guys such as myself that don't like to be limited by, I can't be above this weight, or basically no restrictions, just looking as big and as lean as possible. And, that's still my goal. Obviously, I want to keep my good proportions because on stage, that's crucial. But, mass in the right places, is going to be my goal from, this point forward. I'd like to get my back a lot thicker and obviously everything else. But I think I'm going to put a lot of focus on my back this off season.
I mean, you have a lot of muscle on your frame already, and usually guys don't really hit their peak until they hit around age 26. That's when you really start growing the most because your metabolism slows down a little bit. So you really have your best growth years ahead of you. How much more muscle do you think you could hold on your body and still look aesthetic?
Well, my off-season weight, the heaviest I've got up to is maybe like 282, 283 with decent abs. I feel like I have a lot of room to grow. I feel like I'll be a 300 plus guy in the off season easily. Yeah. I can just see myself being a lot more dense.
Now, are you more of an old school guy where you're training, heavy basic compound movements, or are you like more of a, high volume, a machine guy?
I would have to say I'm more of an old school, 1 or 2 all-out sets, high intensity type of guy. If I do volume, I'll work in my volume sets. But I didn't always train that way. I found that the older I've been, the more I've matured, I respond better to the heavy, nervous system shocking sets. So I would say, if anything, that's what's been different with my training over the past year or two, as I've shifted more towards that high intensity approach.
How did you actually get introduced to bodybuilding? Like, what was your aha moment where you knew this is what you wanted to do?
I guess if you had to encapsulate it into one, like, eureka type moment, like you said, I saw pictures of my dad from when he used to compete from like the early 90s and stuff. I don't know if he ever did a sanctioned NPC event, but he did a couple small shows that local gym promoters would put on. Mm-hmm. And I saw these pictures of my dad, and I was just, as a little kid, that's a lot of muscle, even though he didn't go big time or anything. And I was impressed by that, and that got the ball rolling. And then, you see all the videos of Arnold, and when I was younger, Cutler and Coleman were the ones battling it out, and, how can you not be inspired by that?
Sure.
So, probably not, the most unique, story of how I got into it. I feel like a lot of guys, have followed that path, but, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm worried that my son's going to see like the pictures of me. He already does, and he's going to want to do the bodybuilding thing. How did your dad feel about it when you said you wanted to go into bodybuilding?
He never pushed it on me. I don't know if he thought that I would end up being a bodybuilder, but just once that seed was planted, it just never went away. I got the iron bug, and it's just been a progression ever since. But
did you work out with your dad at any point in time?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Did you work out with your dad at any point in time?
Early on, yeah, he's actually gotten back into the gym recently, so I'm super proud of him for that, and actually my whole family, because they've been relatively sedentary up until now. But I don't know if my success had anything. Yeah, I don't know if my success had anything to do with it, but they're all in the gym now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And but
did he see you compete?
My dad got me into bodybuilding.
Was he in Vegas?
Yeah, they were all in Vegas. They didn't catch prejudging, but they made it out to the night show and
cool.
Everything. So I was real excited about that.
Yeah, your dad looks like he's got good genetics. I can see he's got calves still, and
Yeah, he does.
I'm looking at a picture on your Instagram right now,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's good. Hey, it's great to have have your parents understand. My dad never understood bodybuilding because he was a football, baseball guy. They didn't have bodybuilding when he was a kid. So,
right.
I see now this next generation. I know Zane Watson's dad was a bodybuilder. Obviously Sergio's dad was a bodybuilder. So it's kind of cool to see this next generation of bodybuilders coming into the sport where they actually have Lee Labrada's son, where they actually have someone to actually look up to and who could answer questions for them and stuff like that. And that's kind of cool.
Definitely. Yeah, it is really awesome to see like Hunter and Sergio and those guys come up. Obviously, my dad wasn't a bodybuilding legend, but all the same, yeah. It's cool.
In your house, he was the legend.
Yeah, he is to me.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you go to school? Did you go to school? What's your background?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like at a crossroads right now, Dave. I just graduated with my degree in civil engineering from Youngstown State, which is a school in Ohio. It's real close to the PA border. So I just got my degree. I just turned pro in bodybuilding. So I have like these two things.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to pursue the bodybuilding full tilt, but whether or not I focus on getting more online clients and stuff like that, or actually go ahead and get the engineering job and get a 9-to-5 or whatever.
Sure.
Right now, I don't know if I'm gonna hastily go into that. I'm still kind of like weighing my options, but yeah, I'm kind of like at a crossroads right now.
Well, it would be great. It's always great when you're into bodybuilding, if you could actually live the bodybuilding lifestyle and make a living from it, obviously, because it kind of takes the pressure off, having to, you get enough rest, you can kind of make your own schedule, and that as bodybuilders, people don't understand it. It's great when you can eat what you want and you can go to the gym when you want. And you don't have to answer to anyone,
Yeah, and you know what? In the last 4 to 6 weeks of my prep, I didn't even work. I have like a minimum wage retail job to do and stuff. I didn't work. I put myself in a box. I went to the gym 3 times a day. It was like an hour of stairs in the morning, worked out in the afternoon, and then I would come back late night at 11 for more cardio and posing. So, yeah, and now on the other side of that, I almost don't know what to do with myself because it's been
it's the post-show depression.
Nothing, cooking, prepping, gym,
That's why I always tell people, all bodybuilders, I say you have to have a hobby, because when you put all your eggs into one basket, bodybuilding wise, it's great when you're getting ready for a show, but then when you're not, you have to have something else to kind of distract yourself a little bit and get another interest. Otherwise, you get depressed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but and you said it, bodybuilding is kind of like an all your eggs in one basket type of deal. But I have some hobbies I dabble into. I play some guitar and
Cool.
kick around with some other stuff, so I don't go crazy.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's important.
Yeah.
It's very important, especially, you're a young guy, you want to explore all different avenues. When do you see yourself getting onto a pro stage? This year, next year, 2 years?
Realistically, Dave, probably next year. Of course, I've been getting that infamous question, since Lunsford did the old USA Tampa Olympia.
Right.
People have been asking me if I'm going to do that. I'm like, nah, I realistically, I need more mass and more density on my frame before I can, be an elite pro.
Sure.
I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself at some pro show just on a whim. So.
Yeah. You might as well enjoy the victory, right? You won the USA,
Plus, I've already eaten like 7 or 8 pounds back on since Saturday. So, I mean, me getting on a stage soon might not go down too well.
Yeah, that's only water, though. You didn't gain any fat in 7 days. That's for sure.
Yeah, right.
When you win a show like that of that caliber, and you're validated, and you kind of get, like you mentioned, get a graduation certificate, does it make you feel like, all the sacrifice and all the hard work were worth it? Do you have like a feeling of gratitude about the whole thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even if I wouldn't have won, I knew I brought my personal best, and it was something to be proud of because, people that don't compete, I don't think they understand what you go through mentally through a prep and all the ups and downs and questioning yourself and second guessing yourself. It's a rewarding process either way, but the pro card, the Mr. USA title and all that, of course I'm thrilled to, be privileged enough to be the one who, carries that torch. And, like I said, it's still soaking in, it's still hitting me, but rewarding regardless.
Well, I just want to wish you congratulations, first of all, once again on that big title. I want to wish you the best of luck over the next year, making the improvements you got to make so that you can get onto a pro stage and be competitive and maybe be the next dark horse on the pro stage and shock a lot of people with your first pro victory.
Hey, I hope so. Yeah.
What if you had like a dream show you had to pick? What would be the first show you'd like to do as a pro?
That's a great question, actually. Of course, one of the bigger ones, like the New York Pro or
Sure.
Chicago Pro or Valid Choices, but I don't even know what the pro schedule is. I have to like sit down and look at all those contests and.
Sure.
Start thinking about it. But obviously I haven't put too much thought into it.
Right. Well, enjoy your victory now because the victory doesn't last very long. People forget very quickly. Enjoy it. Put it out there. Like I said, go enjoy the food that you haven't been able to eat for forever. And, make bodybuilding something that you love, because if you love the sport that you compete in, you're going to be great at it. I can promise you that.
I agree. Yeah, that's true.
All right, guys, and that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.